as we celebrate 20 years of Turning Point with stories that not only touch your lives, but our lives too. Now, one of such stories, the Kabugis. And I wanted to ask you, Dr. Oladokun, for you, I mean, you've done many stories. What's the most memorable thing about the Kabugis?
The most memorable thing for me was just the severity and the impact of the injuries his wife sustained on account of his physical abuse. Bob left his wife with 4 broken ribs, a cracked skull, and eye injuries, and left her for dead in a pit. That's really the peak or the climax of the story. But God turned that whole situation around, and I can say, without any equivocation, that Bob and Cecilia Kabugi are definitely trophies of God's grace. And I believe Bob joins us right now, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Bob, how are you?
I'm doing well, Victor. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I remember that night in Nairobi very well. I was in a hurry to get on a plane, but you pulled right in front of me and told me that I needed to do your story. Why so?
Yes, I thought our story would touch a lot of people. I felt in my heart that if people could see what God can do, God can restore marriages that are broken. God can heal people who are in abusive marriages. And God can rectify every situation and leave you as if nothing happened.
Now, if I recall, this story was almost 20 years ago. At the time of the abuse, you were an alcoholic, you were a serial spousal abuser. What do you think drove you at that time? Why do you think you did what you did?
Most of it, Victor, was based on lack of knowledge, lack of foundations in marriage. I frankly was a frustrated man. I was very, very frustrated person. I was a total alcoholic, 100% alcoholic. And I did not care much about the lives of people because I didn't know Christ and I had no relationship with God. And I can tell you for sure, the lack of foundation in my life really was a disaster.
Bishop Bob, you were here. I want to ask you, now you're on the other side, you're ministering to people, it's a great story we all get to see, but for someone who's in the middle of where you are now, especially the one that's getting bashed and is running for their life, his or her life, thinking, you know what, you're not going to kill me, I've got to get away. What do you say to them as they watch you now, being that you've been on the other side? What can you say? Because they're running for their life. They're genuinely scared and think, this guy or this woman is going to kill me. What can you say to them right now to help them begin the journey back to restoration?
You see, what God does is that when you trust God for transformation and change, He is faithful to do it. Some marriages are gone, and some of them, really, the restoration is a bit difficult. But if God turned around our situation, there is no situation that God cannot turn around. That's what I believe.
And in your situation with Cecilia actually left you in order to escape with her life. But you turned up at her door after you were separated or divorced. You knocked on the door months later or almost a year later. And as you walked through the door, before you passed out in a drunken state, you said to Cecilia, "Pray for me." What happened immediately thereafter?
Yes, I came in after, it wasn't a year, it was 7 years. 7 years of separation. And after 7 years, I came back and I was drunk that night. I walked into her house and I asked her to pray for me. And once she prayed for me, I felt something. I never fought her again. I felt something happen to me after that prayer. And I was set free from this abusive situation.
And God has gone on and used both of you in the area of marriage restoration. Both of you pastor today, you're a bishop. What are you guys doing today? And I don't want to take complete control of this story. We've got Kathy and Janet here, and I think from a women's perspective, I also want you to throw in a couple of questions here.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Kabugi. This is Kathy Edwards. Your story is a powerful story of forgiveness. What a journey into forgiveness. Can you talk about that a little bit and how important that has been in your marriage restoration?
At one time, Cecilia had called me a few months before, and she told me that she had forgiven me. Actually, it was a phone call that she did. And when she told me that she had forgiven me, I wanted to also make sure whether she had actually done it or she was just speaking. And our story is actually anchored. Our restoration came as a result of her forgiveness. She knew how to forgive because she was already given her life to Jesus Christ. I had not been saved. And when she told me that she was going to forgive me, something happened inside of me. And I felt the grace, even the ability to talk to her again.
And God has used both of you to help restore marriages and families in Kenya. What are both of you doing today?
We have been used by God in many occasions. Talk to people who are in situations. And God is using us up to date to heal families, to restore husbands who are drunkards, and people who are abusing their wives and children. And we are doing that job right now.
Bishop, the Bible says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and receives favor of the Lord. How important is it for men today to fully comprehend the true meaning of that scripture?
When you understand that scripture, the wife you're looking for is inside the lady that God gave you to marry. So you have to be patient with her, you have to bear with her, you have to walk with her, and as a man, as the head of a family, it is you to give the direction. But look, my case was hopeless because I was a drunkard person. I did not give that leadership. But now I am able to give that leadership because now I have understood that God is the one who gives you the woman. When he gives you the woman, your job is to get that woman, that wife who is in that lady.
Bishop, sorry to interrupt. Our time is almost up, but there's one question I want to ask you. For a family that's involved in this, who watching their son or their daughter going through this, and naturally they want to protect one side or the other, what part should the family be playing in a process of restoration, helping one to forgive the other? How should they deal with this desperate situation they might have?
See, I wish we had time to talk about the functioning of the brain. But you see, when one family has using that abusive marriage, they should not look at it from their daughter point of view or their son point of view. They should look at the whole marriage. And sometimes it's not easy to apportion the blame and say probably your daughter is doing the wrong thing or your son is doing the right thing. You cannot apportion that. What is look the whole sum? We look at the whole marriage and we advise accordingly.
Bishop, forgive me, I'm going to have to interrupt you. Maybe we can get you to talk some more about this and we'll share it on Facebook.
Yes.
Bob Kabugi, thank you so much for joining us again.